یا لیتنا کنا معک شاه سلام علیک شاه سلام علیک صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین اشکام مثل بارون صلی الله علی المظلوم کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون عشق تکراری ای غم بی پایان از قدیمم با تو یا قدیم الاحسان
عشق بی تکراری ای غم بی پایان از قدیمم با تو یا قدیم الاحسان
للأزل حبيتك يا السكن في الوجدان قدمت لك روحي يا قديم الإحسان
هستم هر نفس با تو عشقی الا تو دلم نیستم آدم سابق خونه عاشق جز حرم نیست
حبك مذهبي وديني مالك سنيني انت والله دربك سيد الموتي يرتفع صوتي وحسينا
هیه علل بکا همه جا گریه میکنم با نام سید و شهدا گریه میکنم خیلی گذشته از سفر آخرم حسین با خاطرات کرب و بلا گریه میکنم گریه میکنم حسین مولانا حسین مولانا حسین مولانا حسین مولانا
من غلام قمرم غیر قمر هیچ مگو من غلام قمرم غیر قمر هیچ مگو جز ابوالفضل علمدار دگر هیچ مگو
حسین مولانا حسین مولانا حسین مولانا حسین مولانا صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین اشکام مثل بارون صلی الله علی المظلوم کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون ایها الغریب ایها الغریب السلام علیک یا شیب الخزیب ایها الغریب ایها الغریب السلام علیک یا خط الطریب
ایها الغریب ایها الغریب ای برادر زینب موندی بی پناه ایها الغریب ایها الغریب یاد مادرم افتادم تو قتلگاه
ذبحوا بذبحك القرآن فوق رمض كربلاء عريانا سمع الكون نداء الزهراء ذبحوك ولدي عطشانا
آسمان روی سرم آوار شد دوباره فاطمیه تکرار شد خواهر تو قتلگاه میخونه هرچه شد بین در و دیوار شد هرچه شد هرچه شد هرچه شد بین در و دیوار شد
صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین اشکام مثل بارون صلی الله علی المظلوم کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون
حسین مولانا 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 حسین مولانا
يا ليتنا كنا معك شاه سلام عليك يا ليتنا كنا معك شاه سلام عليك شاه سلام عليك صلى الله على الباكين على الحسين الشامل.
الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا خيرة الله وابن خيرته. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا سار الله وابن ساره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام. وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت. ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم. ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان. ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبة. ولعن الله ابن مرجان. ولعن الله عمر بن صاد. ولعن الله الشمرة. ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك. فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب صالح مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونسب لك الحق وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم. وأبروا إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم، وهرب لمن هاربكم، وولي لمن والاكم، وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم، وارزقني البراءة من أعدائكم، أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثاريكم مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم، وأسأله الله بحقكم وبشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا وممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية، وابن الآكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين، على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله، في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لن أبا سفيان ومغاوية ويزيد بن مغاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقف هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم، وبالموالاة نبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجان وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجدة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين، لك على مصابهم، الحمد لله على عظيم رزيته. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين، وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
پر کشیده هر دل عاشق به سوی کربلا، تا نماند بر دل ما آرزوی کربلا. از پر گهوارم تا لحظه جان دادنم، بر مشامم میرسد هر لحظه بوی کربلا. بوی اسفند عزا آمد، عطر سیب کربلا آمد. ماه محرم، ماه غم، ماه سار الله، بر اشک روزه الحمدلله. ماه محرم، ماه غم، ماه سار الله، بر اشک روزه الحمدلله. شد بهار غم، آه از این ماتم، عالم آمد زیر این پرچم. میدمد بر جان ما صبح سپید کربلا. ای دستا بیاد بالا. میدمد بر جان ما صبح سپید کربلا. میرود هر لحظه ما با امید کربلا. تشنه آغوش یارم ای اجل مهلت بده، تا بگیرد در بغل ما را شهید کربلا. بیقرارم ای کس و کارم، من به این پرچم بدهکارم. دلتنگ دیدار تو هم دلگشایی کن یا حسین، ما را کربلایی کن. دلتنگ دیدار تو هم دلگشایی کن یا حسین، ما را کربلایی کن. عشق بی پایا ای جان جانان، ای قرار قلبم حسین جان. ماه محرم، ماه غم، ماه سار الله، بر اشک روزه الحمدلله. دستا. ماه محرم، ماه غم، ماه سار الله، بر اشک روزه الحمدلله. یک گل میان الغم فتاده، یک گل میان الغم فتاده، دستش شد بر روی خاک ابوالفضل. یا حسین، یا حسین. پر کشیده هر دل عاشق به سوی کربلا، تا نماند بر دل ما آرزوی کربلا. از پر گهوارم تا لحظه جان دادنم، بر مشامم میرسد هر لحظه بوی کربلا. بوی اسفند عزا آمد، عطر سیب کربلا آمد. ماه محرم، ماه غم، ماه سار الله، بر اشک روزه الحمدلله. ماه محرم، ماه غم، ماه سار الله، بر اشک روزه الحمدلله. شد میدمد بر جان ما صبح سپید کربلا. آی دستا بیاد بالا. میدمد بر جان ما صبح سپید کربلا، میرود هر لحظه ما با امید کربلا. تشنه آغوش یارم ای اجل مهلت بده، تا بگیرد در بغل ما را شهید کربلا. بیقرارم ای کس و کارم، من به این پرچم بدهکارم. دلتنگ دیدار تو هم دلگشایی کن یا حسین، ما را کربلایی کن. دلتنگ دیدار تو هم دلگشایی کن یا حسین، ما را کربلایی کن. عشق بی پایان ای جان جانان، ای قرار قلبم حسین جان. ماه محرم ماه غم ماه سارالله.
محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. السلام علیکم و رحمت الله و برکاته. خب فرارسیدن روز تاسوعا و عاشورای حسینی، شهادت امام حسین علیه السلام و 72 تن از یارانشان، به همه شما عزیزان سروران، مهمانان گرامی و ارجمند تسلیت عرض میکنیم. میریم و برنامه امشب ادامه خواهیم داد با تلاوت آیه 171 تا 175 سوره مبارکه بقره که انشاءالله توسط برادر ما سید باقر سادات تلاوت خواهد شد. ترجمه فارسی انشاءالله توسط برادر حمیدالله عابد و ترجمه انگلیسی هم توسط جمال عاملی به سمع شما خواهد رسید. میریم و برنامه را ادامه خواهیم داد. If you guys can help me out with your silence please. از محترم سید باقر سادات خواهش میکنم تشریف بیارن و آیه 171 تا 175 تلاوت بفرمایید. صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومثل الذين كفروا كمثل الذي ينعق بما لا يسمع إلا دعاء ونداء. صم بكم عمي فهم لا يعقلون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم واشكروا لله إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. إنما حرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل به لغير الله فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم. إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزل الله من الكتاب ويشترون به ثمنا قليلا أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار ولا يكلمهم الله يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم. أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى والعذاب بالمغفرة فما أصبرهم على النار صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. مثل کسانی که کفر می‌ورزند مثل حیوان است که اگر کسی در گوش آن حیوان آوای برآورد از آن آوا جز بانگ و فریاد نشنود. آنان کر، لال و کورند و خردوردی نمی کنند. ای کسانی که ایمان دارید از چیزهای پاک که روزی شما کرده ایم بخورید و خدا را سپاس گذارید اگر او را می پرستید. او بر شما خوردن مردار و خون و گوشت خوک و آنچه هنگام ذبح نام غیر خدا بر آن خوانده شده است حرام کرده است. اما اگر کس ناچار است بدون اینکه قصد نافرمانی داشته باشد و خوردن آن را از حد نگذراند پس بر او گناهی نیست، زیرا که خدا آمرزنده و مهربان است. آنان که وحی خدا را آنچه در کتاب نازل شده است پنهان می کنند و آن را به اندک بهای می فروشند، شکمهایشان را جز با آتش پر نمی کنند. خدا در روز قیامت با آنها سخن نخواهد گفت و پاکشان نخواهد کرد و بر ایشان عذاب دردناک است. اینها کسانی هستند که گمراهی را به جای هدایت و عذاب را به جای آمرزش خریداری می کنند. چه چیز آنها را بر آتش شکیبا کرده است؟ صدق الله العلی العظیم. صلوات. صل علی
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. The parable of the faithless is that of someone who shouts after that which does not hear anything except a call and cry. Deaf, dumb, and blind. They do not exercise their reason. O you who have faith, eat of the good things we have provided you, and thank Allah if it is Him that you worship. He has forbidden you only carrion, blood, the flesh of the swine, and that which has been offered to other than Allah. But should someone be compelled without being rebellious or transgressive, there shall be no sin upon him. Allah is indeed all forgiving, all merciful. Indeed, those who conceal what Allah has sent down of the book and sell it for a paltry gain. They do not ingest into their bellies except fire, and Allah shall not speak to them on the day of resurrection, nor shall He purify them. And there is a painful punishment for them. They are the ones who bought error for guidance and punishment for pardon. How patient of them to face the fire. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim.
Okay, with many thanks and appreciation to Said Baqir Sadat, Brother Hamidullah Abed, and Brother Jamal Amili for recitation of Quran in Farsi and English translations. We will continue our programs with our regular announcement on the second session, and we will listen to Ajaga Modarres' speech. The title of his speech of tonight actually started a few nights ago. Does anybody remember what was the title of the speech? Healing the Heart. Healing the Heart is the topic that Ajaga Modarres started it a few nights ago, and he's going to continue on that. But before we go to Ajaga Modarres' speech, our month of Muharram programs will continue through this Monday, August the 8th at 8 p.m. every night. So please be here for recitation of Quran and congregation or Jama'ah prayers, inshallah. On tomorrow night, we have a guest speaker, inshallah. We've been waiting for him this week. Our guest speaker will be Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Aghay Fayyaz. He is the son of Ayatollah Fayyaz, who lives in Najaf Ashraf in Karbala, in Iraq. So he's going to be here tomorrow with Hujjatul Islam Kashmiri, inshallah. They will be our guest. Of course, we're going to have Ajaga Modarres' speech as well. And on top of that, we will have Sheikh Mahmoud Fayyaz's speech as well tomorrow night, inshallah. On the day of Sunday, this coming Sunday, we have a blood drive. I've been announcing that, and there's the poster. Please, if you didn't have a chance to sign up for blood donations, please take a photo of this flyer and make sure that you reserve your spot. As of last night, we had only 12 spots left. We had 63, and as of last night, we had 51 or 52 already filled out or filled in. So please make sure that if you would like to donate in the name of Allah, in the name of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, please sign up and claim your space for this coming Sunday, inshallah. Also, the spaces in Besht Zahra, as I've been mentioning, only this week, there's $800 off. So if you would like to purchase a space in Besht Zahra, the regular price is $5,150. But only this week, if you start the paperwork and sign up to get a space, it will be $800 cheaper, down to $4,350, $4,350, inshallah. So if you would like, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a long life. It's not that we want anybody to use that space, but we have to go one day and we have to be prepared. And this is one thing less for those people who will be taking care of all of those events after something happens to us, inshallah. With that being said, please see Brother Zai Ameli for your monthly donations and make sure that you're up to date with your monthly pledges. If you can do a little more this month because we're here every night, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you would like to sponsor for food, as I've been mentioning, the price for food for one night is $500. But if you can do $500 by yourself, that's great. But if you can do any amount, it would be greatly appreciated, and there's no issue with that. So if you can do 150, 100, 300, doesn't matter. Please give it to Aghazi Amali or Brother Saeed Razak. Both of those brothers are taking care of the financials. They will make sure that the money that you give towards the food will be spent on food, inshallah. Please help us keep our masjid clean as much as possible. We're here every night. Please look around you and make sure that you're not leaving anything behind. And with that being said, we will go ahead without any further ado and listen to Ajaga Modarres' speech. And again, the title of Ajaga Modarres' speech is Healing the Heart. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the honor of Maulana wa Sayyidina Rasulullah, his infallible progeny Ahlul Bayt, recite Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله الذي لا بداية له والدائم الذي لا نفاد له والأول الذي لا أول لأوليته والآخر الذي لا مؤخر لآخريته ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقترب للناس حسابهم وهم في غفلة معرضون ما يأتيهم من ذكر من ربهم محدث إلا استمعوه وهم يلعبون لاهية قلوبهم وأسروا النجوى الذين ظلموا هل هذا إلا بشر مثلكم أفتأتون السحر وأنتم تبصرون صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enlighten our heart by the light of guidance and iman and the love and mahabbah of the Prophet and his family with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I remember I had a conversation with a young man a while ago, and he was telling me that he was having difficulty falling asleep at night, doesn't have any motivation in the morning to leave his bed, and ultimately he doesn't even understand what's the point. What should he even go and make money? What's the point of going to school and college? And the more I had that conversation with him, the more I came to a conclusion that he doesn't have any purpose. He doesn't have any goal. To don't have a purpose and not having a goal, it's ultimately is going to lead to our hopelessness, despair, and is very destructive. That's why in a healthy person's life, purpose matters. Regardless if you're a believer or not, purpose matters. Yes, some people have ideal and good and noble purposes and goals. Some others may have pointless, aimless, irrelevant goals in their lives. And that sometimes we see people with a bad goal, they're capable of succeeding in comparison with the people with noble goals who don't put the same amount of effort. I said this story or this anecdote because this is a misunderstanding that we assume that because our goals is noble, it's connected with God, religion, faith, it means that we are set. We'll achieve whatever we want. On the other hand, if anybody who doesn't have God, doesn't have faith, they'll fail. They'll fail in one level, and that's the level of spirituality and ultimate, what we call the unseen, the ghaib, when it comes to life after death and ultimately achieving salvation. They'll of course fail in that aspect because they did not have any faith. They didn't believe in it. But in a matter of this life, it never meant to be the case that someone is going to be successful only because of their knowledge or only because of their purpose. That's why there is a hadith by the Holy Prophet. The Prophet says, لا يكون العالم عالما. A person who's knowledgeable, who's a scholar, will not be truly knowledgeable unless حتى يكون عاملا, unless they are someone who act according to the knowledge. Then you're a alim, then you're knowledgeable. Otherwise, if I know, if I have good intentions, and if I have a lot of noble goals, but I don't strive for it, if I don't put the effort that I need to, it's not going to help me in any way. So that's why we come to the second disease of the heart and the soul, which Allah addresses it in many verses, but the one that I recited at the beginning is from Surah Anbiya, verse 1 to 3. We started the commentary of Surah Anbiya in the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, after Muharram, we'll continue it until we finish it. But in the early verses of this chapter, Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, اقترب للناس حسابهم. So the beauty of this ayah is that it connects to our previous topic, which was ghafla, which was forgetfulness, heedlessness. Allah said, as reckoning is approaching, reckoning referring to that everyone, we will be held accountable for what we do, what we achieve, what we say. There's going to be a questioning and ultimately hisab. Anyone that even imagine that they're going to get away with the harm that they've committed, they did not understand the justice of God. The justice of God is that everyone, good or bad, they will be rewarded more than they deserve, and they will be punished equally and fairly and justly. That's the justice of God. Will not be rewarded fairly and justly. Will be rewarded generously, more than what we deserve. So Allah tilted the scale in our favor, that ultimately Allah's blessing, Ya man katabat rahmatuhu ghadaban, the one that his mercy overtakes his wrath. That's Allah's treatment of his creation. So Allah said, as the reckoning approaches, you see many people, they are in heedlessness, they are in ghaflat, and they're turning away. They don't even, it's like somebody, they know the test is coming, next week they have a test, next month they have a test, and they ignore it. They don't care about it. And Allah said, this is the case, مَا يَأْتِيهِم مِّن ذِكْرٍ مِّن رَبِّهِم مُحْدَثٍ. There does not come to them any news reminding them of their Lord. but they listen to it and they play around. إِلَّا اسْتَمَعُوهُ وَهُمْ يَلْعَبُونَ. So they listen to Quran, they listen to revelation, they listen to the prophets of God, but they decide to not care. يَلْعَبُونَ, the word la'ab in Arabic means playing. Like children, you talk to them, they don't pay attention, they play with their toys. Some adults, they're like that. You talk to them, they play with their phones. That's the modern toy for the man, by the way, right? And we are, alhamdulillah, in no shortage of plays and games and distractions. Again, for kids, probably they play Candy Crush. For adults, we play with Instagram. Same, pretty much. It's amusement, it's something to distract ourselves. And this is, again, I'm referring to people who excessively are indulging themselves in these kind of activities. Then Allah says, لاهية قلوبهم. Remember, qalb, by now you should know the meaning of the word qalb and heart now. Allah said these are the ones that their hearts is set on diversion. Lahiya, the root of the word is lahv. Lahw and la'ib. These two words have been mentioned in the Quran over and over. Lahv means diversion, amusement. La'ib means play, game. So Allah said when these people, they listen to the teachings of God, they listen to the message of God, they don't take it seriously. They continue playing. You know, I've noticed, I've been to funerals that people are smiling, laughing as we bury someone. Even death doesn't have that impact on that person anymore. Yeah, somebody died. Okay, they died. I'm alive. The sympathy, you know, that even the exercise empathy is gone. That's a level of heart being sick. That nothing affects you anymore. Indifference. So Allah said, with these people, وَأَسَرُّ النَّجْوَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا هَلْ هَذَا إِلَّا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. They come together. So these people that their heart is in diversion, so these that they don't take the message of God seriously, they come together in secrecy. Najwa, whispering secrecy. And they say to each other, this man, referring to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that this man is a human being like us. He's no different from us. أَفَتَأْتُونَ السِّحْرَ وَأَنْتُمْ تُبْصِرُونَ. Ultimately, will he give in to magic with open eyes, labeling the message of the Prophet as not being something different. So this is, inshallah, the topic for tonight. We want to talk about lahv as another disease of the heart. Our soul who's indulged and is ultimately drowned in amusement, play, games, to a point that we don't care. We don't care about anything valuable anymore. That's a disease that we need to heal from. And there are moments in our lives that we deal with it. So the reference of this disease in Quran is Surah Anbiya, verse 1 to 3. And the key term for tonight, as Muslims, we have to start becoming familiar with certain Quranic terms, Arabic terms. We can translate, but ultimately as Muslim, we cannot run away from Arabic language. It's something that sooner or later we have to become a bit familiar with it. No need for us to become fluent in speaking Arabic, but we have to get to know some of the key terms in Arabic. The same way that if you ask any Muslim with a very, very minimal understanding of the religion, they know what Allah means. There is an Arabic term. We should also, inshallah, as we sit more in these majalis and these programs, learn new things, new words. So the word qalb, inshallah, we'll learn. If you're a Farsi speaker or Urdu speaker, you should have known this. It's not a new piece of information for you. But lahw is something that probably is a bit newer for many languages beside Arabic. Lahw and la'ib. And lahw, as I said, it means diversion. And what it means, diversion? Diversion, it means something that is keeping your attention away from the right course, from the proper course. La'ib means play. And Allah in Quran refers to this life, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَعِبٌ وَلَهُ. Said everything that you do in this dunya, everything that you see around you, is either an amusement, a diversion, or is a play, is a game. I mentioned this before. Just imagine children, they play with toys. They have small cars. They have toy cars. Adults, they have real cars. That's their toys. Children, they play, let's say, with some kind of amusement. Let's say if they have a ball or they have a doll, they play with it. Adults, they play with something like video games, a couple of $100 consoles and things like that. But distraction is there, amusement is there. So what's the healing process from this disease? First of all, what's an issue? What's the problem? I'm a bit, amusing myself. I'm a bit playful in life. What's an issue? It's not a problem, in mental health when it comes to a disorder, how they define a disorder. They say, okay, let's say if somebody is sad. Sadness is part of life, is not a disorder, is not depression, unless it interferes with your life. If it interferes with your daily responsibilities and is stopping you from attending and committing to them, then it will be a problem. Then it is a disorder, it needs attention, it needs therapists, it needs treatment. But if you just feel sad because something's, you lost someone, there is a moment to be sad, that's fine. That's not an issue. It's healthy to be sad sometimes, depending on what's the cause of the sadness. With the play and amusement is the same thing. It's not an issue for us to have moment of entertainment, leisure, fun, as long as it's not going to disturb and interfere with our life. If somebody, they're so deep into distracting themselves that they don't even care about important matters in their life. All due respect, let's say I'm talking to someone who is there in their 40s, don't even have a plan for starting a family, don't even understand what family or marriage is about, because they're so busy distracting themselves, jumping from one thing to another. At the end of the day, what is life? At the moment that we live on this earth, is it all about how much fun I had, or is it about the connection I made? Is it about the imprint that I left? What is it? But someone, they don't care. I'm having fun right now. I don't have time to think about it. Brother, sister, you're in your 40s. It's not that marriage is all your life, but it's part of your life that sooner or later you have to pay attention to. Or people who still live with their parents in their 30s. They're a burden on their parents. Why? Because they're so distracted. Oh, I'm just, taking it slow. I think you're taking it too slow. It's a turtle speed. You're in your 30s. You should have figured things out by now. There are people, again, I understand, they're not capable of independence. They need a guardian. There are exceptions, of course. But average people, they should know. That is the moment you know that love is a distraction, is a diversion to a point that is interfering with your life. Then it needs attention. Then it needs cure. I mentioned this before. People who are aimless, people who don't have a plan for their life, they're not admired in our religion. Don't call them mystics. Don't call them men of gods. A man of God has a purpose, has a plan. But not in a way that, oh, it's my plan, God has no role in it. I plan, but Allah knows best, but it's still I'm going to plan. If He's going to change my plan along the way, I understand that He's the creator, but it's still I plan. Imam al-Hussein, when he left Medina to Mecca and from Mecca to Kufa, he had a plan. Things didn't go according to plan. After one obstacle, after another, he adapted to situation as things happen. But he had a plan. So first recognize the disease. The disease is not taking things seriously. Again, the imbalance is always there. You know that we have some hearts who are too serious. I come to that as well. There are people who take everything seriously. They cannot have fun. That's a disease of its own. We will come to it. That the tradition said from the qualities and merits of a believer is that they are mala'ib. There are people who make jokes. They're happy people. They make jokes without insulting others, without disrespecting others, but they are people who make jokes. They use humor. That's a sign of a mu'min, that they use humor. So not imbalanced in the sense that you take everything seriously, you don't let go of things, not too playful, too distracted, too diverted, to a point that you don't take anything seriously. There is the path, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. Allah made us the balanced nation for a reason. As Muslims, Allah said, we brought you a message that is a balanced message. It's about hereafter and it's about the life, this life as well. It's not just about hereafter. That's why we don't have monkery in Islam. We don't have monks. We don't have people who leave everything, abandon marriage and we don't have that. You have to take your share of the lawful of this life as well. And then there is also investment for the hereafter, balance. So what should we do with this disease? Lahw. The first solution, which is very important, is conversion of knowledge to action. That's the first solution, first healing. If you're someone who sit down and do nothing, lahw is going to take over. We don't take anything seriously because we don't do anything about it. What's the point of a game? It doesn't matter. You win or lose, it doesn't matter. Put aside that some people, even game matters to them, scores matter to them. They'll even fight for a game. Let's put those people aside. But in reality, games don't matter. You win or lose, okay. So first is important to, whatever we know about what is right and wrong, about the right path versus wrong path, we need to do something about it. We need to convert it to action. You know, in Mecca, Imam al-Hussein came and visited Abdullah ibn Umar. It was a well-known son of the second Khalifa. And Imam al-Islam told him, everybody have to make their own decision. Come and join me. We have that in the narration, in the history, that he kissed Imam al-Hussein's chest. It was a tradition at the time. You know, you've seen in some cultures, people, they kiss somebody's shoulder, some of them their forehead. But he kissed Imam al-Hussein's chest. And he said, the reason I do it is because I saw Prophet kissing your chest. So I know who you are and how Prophet treated you. But I'm going to pray for you. God is with those who are patient. That's all I can do for you. That's it. And there are people like him, other people like him, that they say, we know that you're on the right path. We know that you are standing on the right side of this confrontation. But we decided not to do anything about it. We gave allegiance to Yazid. You do the same. Do the same thing. So everything to them was that is not a serious matter. It doesn't matter what he does, what is he doing to, he's, possessing properties that is not his, he's torturing the poor, he's taking the religion as a pawn in his game and he does whatever he wants. We don't care. It's not a serious matter to us. It matters for us to live our lives. So we need to, if I know something, I give an example. There are young people who know that what's the status of parents. They exactly know this. I know heaven is beneath the feet of mothers. I know that. I know that if I want any blessing, I need to respect and honor them. I know that even if my parents are not believers, so if your parents are faithless, if your parents are kafir, non-believer, Islam says you cannot disrespect them. You cannot humiliate them. You cannot in any way harm them. And on the other hand, you have to respect them. So many people know that, but they don't care enough about it to do something about it. Because knowing, it matters if it converts to action. Again, I know israf and being wasteful is bad, but I don't care enough about it to actually practice, being conservative with the wasting some of the resources. When I go shopping, rather than say, "Oh, it's cheap, let me buy 10 pounds." Worst case scenario, I'm going to throw out 5 pounds. It's cheap. I think about, okay, I'm going to be wasteful. There's going to be israf, so I'm going to be careful. Is it going to convert to action or not? So that's one healing. Recite the Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. MashaAllah. He discovered his voice, alhamdulillah. Let him. So, one again is to be a practical Muslim, not a knowledge base. So when you come here, when you come in the majalis, ask yourself that question. Am I here to just add to my data bank and know more, or I'm going to use these kind of moments as a source of intellectual increase of my intellectual knowledge, as well as increasing my incentive for action. That's it. If I sit down in a majlis and I go back and I do something about it, then I benefited from that majlis. But if I only stayed in the level of listening but no action, remember, many people stayed in that level, and that's not enough. That's one. Another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. It's okay. I see you're distracted. I can focus on my speech. Pay attention to me, inshallah, it will be fine. Sure. So, that's a disease that's first solution with this disease. We need to, again, whatever we know from knowledge, practice. Practice that. There is a beautiful word of wisdom from Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam says that if you practice a little bit of knowledge that you have qalilul ilm. Let's say you don't know a lot, you know a bit. Allah will take care of the rest and the remainder that you do not know if you practice the little that you know. Because if you don't know, you don't know. The question that Quran asks is, لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. If you know it and you say it, why you don't practice? But if you don't know, Allah doesn't say why you don't know. He said, okay, go educate yourself. But if there is a moment that is not your fault that you didn't know, you tried to educate yourself, but that was the capacity you had. This is how much I learned. Allah said, I will not question you for that. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. More than your ability, I will not question you. And the second step to healing of lahv, lahiyatan qulubuhum, a diverted, a playful heart, a heart that doesn't take things seriously, is to have plan and to have a schedule. Our heart is always looking for a way to distract us. Remember, what was the meaning of qalb literally in Arabic? Anybody remembers? Something that is constantly turning, changing. So heart, it doesn't by default is not stable. That's why, young people, even when it comes to their emotions, oh, I love this person. Oh, I hate this person. It changed quickly. But as we age, some people stay that way. You see people that they've been in 10 relationships and still they are in the hate and love situation because their heart is still untrained, because it's changing. But a heart that is trained and is healed is capable of finding a stability, calm, itminan, mutma'inna. So the second healing tip from the teachings of the Quran and Ahlul Bayt is to have a schedule and plan. We have that Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam asked about a young man. He said, what is his job? What is he doing? One of his companions. And they told him, he does nothing. He's unemployed. Imam said, Saqata an aini. I lost respect for him. Don't be someone that in the summer I do nothing. Being without action is an issue. Without being planned is an issue. Sometimes in a moment of just being unemployed, and let's say if you don't have any plan, shaitan, that's the best time for shaitan to start giving you ideas. In our alone time is not all the time that we come up with great ideas. Sometimes we come up with very foolish ideas. You've seen people jumping from the rooftop to the pool. You've seen people taking risk of their lives. You sit down and you just lost your job and suddenly you think, I should buy a bike, a motorbike. Why? Because, not enough people die on car accidents. Do you need it? No, it's just the exhilaration. There's something in it. These are not ideas that are great ideas, by the way. But something it comes, not again, if you have a plan, if you have a purpose, you're studying, you're educating yourself, you're sharpening your skills, you're becoming a versatile person to be able to deal in different situations as a modern time to adapt to the situation, you will not have time for these things. But if you have too much free time, then these ideas are giving birth to these kind of distractions and playfulness. Which the issue is, they're not an issue unless, then again, you see people that all they care about is that game or the play that they have ahead of them. Have a plan, my dear brothers and sisters. Have a plan. For the next year, have a plan. For the next 5 years, have a plan. For the next 10 years, have a plan. And things change, and then you have to change your plan as it goes. As it goes. Please don't use the term inshallah to justify our laziness with planning. We should say inshallah because we mean what it means. Inshallah means God's willing. It means that even if I plan, there's so many factors, there's so many external causes that can change my situation. Inshallah means God's willing. I plan, but it doesn't mean that 100% I have to imagine that nothing goes wrong. There's a possibility many things can go wrong. There could be a recession, there could be health issues, there could be so many things, but it's still a plan, inshallah. If God's willing, then I will follow with my plan. May Allah inshallah grant all of us ability to have a purpose, a noble purpose that will lead us to execution, to practice. The story of Imam al-Hussein has that message. Why we come to these majalis, why we come in Muharram. One thing to remember is that there's not one reason for it. There's so many benefits that some of them may be my understanding, my thought processes led me to it. There's some reasons that maybe I don't even know. So when somebody says these are the reason, is not exclusive, is not limited to them, this is part of it. The reason we come in these gatherings, in these majalis, is not to feel bad for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He doesn't need us to feel bad for him. But we need to reject oppression. We need to look at something despicable and said, I don't like that. That's a healthy heart. That's a healthy soul. If you see a child, if you see a homeless person, if you see somebody suffering, and it doesn't cause you agony, it's not a healthy soul. The minimum thing that a moment of injustice has to do is make us suffer. That we have that famous prophetic tradition that the children of Adam are like a body. That if one limb starts to ache, the rest of the body is in pain with it. But the reason we come to Muharram is not to feel bad for him, because Imam Hussein stood for something honorable, noble, that he was proud of. So he doesn't need pity. And Allah will reward him. Thought Allah means the one that Allah guaranteed compensation for the blood and the sacrifice that he made. So we're not here for that reason. What is it? We're here to align ourselves with the alignment of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. You need a car, after a while they need alignment. Our hearts also need alignment. Because our heart, as I say, changing. We get attracted, we get inclined towards something that is not good. Muharram comes and you hear the name Hussein. You hear the name Abbas. And you hear about what they stood for and what they represent. And our hearts kind of comes back and align itself back again with someone like Hussein alayhi salam. That's the purpose. One of the reasons. We love to become like people that we admire. We want to, we heard about this, that it's not good to meet your heroes, but not like Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet. Because anybody who met Ahlul Bayt, they were not disappointed. You look at the history, Zuhair ibn Qayn was someone who met Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam on the way. So he did not join Imam Hussein from the beginning or from Mecca, on the way. So we have that a messenger came to him. So let's call him coincidence. We can call it fate, destiny. In one of these stations that they would stop on their journey, they coincide to camp at the same place, at the same station. Imam Hussein sent a messenger to him that, come, I want to talk to you. And he said, I don't want to. So at the beginning, he didn't want to meet Imam Hussein. He said, I heard that he went against Yazid. He doesn't have the numbers on his side, so it doesn't make sense. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. Yazid has all the advantage, he doesn't. So I'm not going to go. I know what he's going to say. This is that sometimes having a good advisor could help you a lot. Having a good spouse could help you a lot. His wife told him, the grandson of Prophet, the son of Fatima, the son of Ali is calling you and you're going to reject it? How will you face his grandfather in the day of judgment that said, my grandson called you and you could have gone? The minimum is to listen to him. You can say no, but at least somebody's inviting you in Islam is recommended to accept the invitation. So he went. What happened in that meeting, nobody knows because we don't have the report of it. But when he returned, he asked his wife, let's move. We're going to join Hussein alayhi salam. So this is one of those people. And many people like Zuhair, like Hur, like 33 people who joined Imam Hussein from the enemies. When they met him as a hero, they were not disappointed. And again, these are the ones that they look at Imam Hussein not as someone they admired. They look at Imam Hussein alayhi salam as someone. Not that they look at him as an imam, as a leader. No, someone that they knew. But once they interacted with him, it made a difference. That's why we're here. Ask ourselves, when we come every Muharram, if Muharram make us better people, makes our iman stronger, makes our heart, cleanse our hearts, then we're aligning with Hussein alayhi salam. That's what he stood for. If God forbid I come to these gatherings and all it does to me is make me more arrogant, make me more rude, which I don't think is the case for many, then I'm leaving empty handed. It's like people who saw Imam Hussein and they left empty handed. So remember that tonight's summary of what I said, the second disease of the heart is lahv, is amusement and taking things not seriously, diversion. And the solution for that, according to our teaching, are two things. Number one, practical faith. Whatever you know, practice it. Don't wait for additional knowledge. If I know this is right, I should stick with it. No other excuse is acceptable. I know lying is wrong is wrong. That's it. Admit that, okay, I knew it and I still didn't follow it, didn't practice it. That's step number one, practicing what we know. Number two, planning and having a purpose. Don't let our days go wasted. You know, lahiyatan qulubum is a wasted heart. A soul that has so much value and we exchange it for nothing. I distract myself. I play with things that means nothing. Again, halal entertainment and leisure is good because it gives us energy. But how much? How much of our life is play? How much of our life is entertainment? May Allah inshallah grant all of us transformation of the heart in a way that make us closer to Allah, make us closer to the true servants of God, like Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, and help us to love what they loved. Help us to dislike what they dislike. Allahumma ja'al mahyaya mahya Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Oh Allah, make our lives aligns with the life of the Prophet and his family. Tonight we dedicate our majlis to a 6-month-old martyr. If you heard Ali Al-Asghar, Asghar means the youngest. So Ali was his name, Asghar, because his siblings were also named Ali. One was called Ali Al-Akbar, the eldest, which was martyred in the day of Ashura. We have Ali Al-Awsat, the middle Ali, which was Imam Zain al-Abidin. And Ali Al-Asghar, which was the youngest one, also named by Abdullah al-Saghir, and the young Abdullah, referring to the same person. So after all the companions and family of the Imam al-Hussein went one by one to the battle, of course they were martyred. By the end of the battle, Imam Hussein was left alone. So we have that he looked at the enemies and one more time he said, is there anyone to protect and defend family of the Prophet? هل من ذاب يذب عن حرم رسول الله? Is there anyone out there? Is there anyone to answer my call? And according to many who look at these statements, for somebody who knows that these people, again, they killed your companions, they killed your son, they killed your brothers, why you still try with them? This is the tradition of the awliya Allah, those who are close to Allah. They don't easily give up on guiding people. That's why when Prophet, he was attacked, they throw stones and they tortured him. This is, we have, as he was bleeding, Prophet would say, Ya Allah, inna qawmi la ta'lamun. Ya Allah, my people, they don't know better. Don't punish them. As he was bleeding. Many situations, he did not easily give up on guiding them. But after Imam Hussein said that, nobody answered. So we have that he came for farewell. He came to say his goodbye. And he came to Hazrat Zainab and ask her sister to bring me my son, that I want to say my farewell and wada to him. So in the Maqtal, in the Sayyid ibn Tawus, he says that as Hazrat Zainab brought the child and the infant Ali Al-Asghar to him, one of the archers by the name of Harmala, he had a three-pronged arrow ready for this. And as soon as Imam alayhi salam had the child, remember the opposition at that time, the camps are not miles away from each other. Some people said, oh, how far this arrow can travel. Remember, the circle of being surrounded by the enemies was tighter. Now this is that Imam al-Hussein is the last person. So the enemies is as close as possible. Imam Hussein is the only remaining fighter at that day. So we have, as Imam Hussein wanted to say his farewell, the three-pronged arrow came on the neck of Ali Al-Asghar, and a 6-month-old child doesn't have a big neck. And the blood started gushing. And we have Imam al-Hussein filled his hand with the blood of Ali Al-Asghar. And he said, Ya Allah, accept this sacrifice from us. And I'm able to endure this because I know you're the witness. هون لي الأمر أنه بعينك. And we have that he came behind the camp. He used his sword to dig a small grave and buried the body of Ali Al-Asghar. In some narrations said that these cold-hearted, let's call them those with the dead heart, in order to get a prize, in order to get the attention of the Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, the commander, and get some kind of gift in exchange, they even dug the body of Ali Al-Asghar. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. تکیه بر شمشیر زد پرسید یاری هست آیا تا مرا یاری کند مردی سواری هست آیا پیش رو یک دشت تنهایی است تنهایی است بی سر باز سرگرداند و از نو گفت یاری هست آیا لما رأى الحسين مصارع فتيانه وأحبته عزم على لقاء القوم بمهجته ونادى هل من ذاب يذب عن حرم رسول الله. وقتی ابا عبدالله الحسین شهادت جوانان و یارانش رو دید آماده شد خود به میدان برود صدا زد آیا کسی هست از حرم پیامبر دفاع کند آیا یکتا پرستی هست که درباره ما از خدا بترسد؟ فارتفعت اصوات النساء بالعويل فتقدم إلى باب الخيمة وقال لزينب ناوليني ولدي الصغير حتى اودعه. صدای زنان و کودکان به ناله بلند شد. ابا عبدالله رو کرد، به خیمگاه زینب رو صدا زد. زینبم، طفل خردسال من رو به من بده تا با او وداع کنم. ناگهان در آن سکوت هل آلود صوتی پرسش بی پاسخم را پاسخاری هست آیا؟ آری آری حق حقی نه حق حقی آمد رجزوار. کودک 6 ماهه را با جنگ کاری هست آیا؟ این گلو خشکیده مردم یک سر سوزن مروت یا کف آبی به قدر شیر خاری هست آیا؟ ابا عبدالله طفلش رو در آغوش گرفت تا آمد این لبها رو نزدیک کند به گوش علی اصغر. فاخذه و اومى الیه لیقبل، آورد صورت علی رو ببوسند. فرماه حرمل بسهم فوقع فی نحره فذبحه، تا چشم رو باز کردی تیر هرمله ملعون بر گلوی علی نشست. این گوش رو این گلو رو گوش تا گوش برید. صدای ابا عبدالله بلند شد خداوندا تقبل منا ذا القربان، این قربانی رو از ما بپذیر. یه جمله دیگری هم گفت. چه فرمود؟ فرمود یا الله هون لی الامر انه بعینک، این مصیبت بر حسین آسان است چون شاهد این مصیبت تو هستی خدا. فقال لزینب خذی، زینب رو صدا زد خواهرم این طفل رو از من بگیر. سلام ای کودک عطشان مادر، سلام ای قنچه نشکفته پرپر، فدای خنده های دلنشینت سرافرازم نمودی بین لشگر. الهی خون ز چشمت پاک می شد، گلوی من به جایت چاک می شد. تمام حاجت مادر همین است، کنار تو تن من خاک می شد. آمد پشت خیمگاه با غلاف شمشیر یه قبر کوچکی رو کرد. بدن علی رو داخل قبر گذاشت. یه وقت صدا آمد حسین جان منتظر باش، بگذار یک بار دیگر فرزندم علی رو ببینم. مگه میشه مادر بدون ودا و خداحافظی فرزند رو رها کنه؟ ولا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. یا الله مظلومیت شهدای کربلا
رو بازگرد، چشمش به دست قد حسن برادر جفتا، این دست خط و میبوزه به چشمش میکشه داداش کجایی ببینی حسین تو غریب گیرون چینه
of his infant Ali Al-Asghar, all those who are in need of our du'as and prayers, those who are ill, those who are dealing with health issues, mental issues, spiritual issues. Ya Allah, by the honor of Ali Al-Asghar alayhi salam, grant them strength and grant them a solution. By the honor of Ali Al-Asghar alayhi salam, from these majalis, from the recitation of the Quran, recitation of dua, send a gift, a blessing to the soul of all of our marhumin, all of the amwat, especially those marhumin that they used to be with us. They're not with us any longer. May Allah inshallah grant them maghfirah and forgiveness. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad warham Muhammadan wa ala Muhammad كأفضل ما صليت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Let's inshallah everybody stand up. We finish with Azadari. As you're inshallah standing up, say the salam and organize your line. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله سيدي يا مظلوم يا أبا عبد الله سيدي يا مظلوم يا أبا عبد الله سيدي يا مظلوم يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك عبد الله السلام عليك يا بر محمد و اهل بیت محمد صلوات.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم جمعم بر همه نمبرگل رسول محمد ولی شیر و دستاتی کوچک صلوات صلی علی محمد و آل محمد فرجا. Walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala. I'll give my life and soul just to get to Karbala. Let's go, brother, to the land of Abba Abdullah. Go and pack your bags, let's reach the land of Karbala. We must not be late, we must go and catch our flight. Soon we'll be under the dome of Karbala's great night. This is Arba'in, let's go do the Arba'in. This is Arba'in, let's go do the Arba'in of our Imam Hussein. Let's perform the Arba'in, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala. I'll give my life and soul just to get to Karbala. Come on and let's visit our first beloved Imam. Do ask him for our safety through the path of Islam. We start our journey, we walk past Wadi Salam. This is the biggest graveyard in the whole of mankind. Walk, walk, brother, walk. Don't get tired, you can walk. Walk, walk, brother, walk. Don't get tired, you can walk. The angels do record, and God will give us rewards. Walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala. Walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala. I'll give my life and soul just to get to Karbala. Look at all of these servants of Imam al-Hussein, giving waters to the walkers of he who was slain. In the whole world, this is the most generous event. People, let us stay with them so that we can lament. Thank you, O Allah, for this blessing, O Allah. Thank you, O Allah, for this blessing, O Allah. For my heart to be near, so close to our Amir, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala. I'll give my life and soul just to get to Karbala. Did you know every step we take gives us big blessings? 1,000 deeds we get and 1,000 remove sins. We have now reached the blessed land of our third leader. We ended in the land of heaven of our teacher. Labbaik ya Hussein, I am here for you, Hussein. Labbaik ya Hussein, I am here for you, Hussein. Every year, inshallah, I'll come walking to Hussein, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala, walking to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala. I'll give my life and soul just to get to Karbala. بارها محمد گفت که علی جان من است، هم به جان علی و اسم محمد صلوات.
Ahsan, mashallah. For the health and well-being of both of the young reciters, let's say the love salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Inshallah, we recite this Noha. If you lost your phone, talk to Ajizia, inshallah, if you lost your phone. Inshallah, the answer for this Noha, Ya Rab, be Karbala ab ravan qiymat jan shud, hanjar asghar hadaf tir u kaman shud. Again, I know the meaning of this, it will be difficult, but the message of this Noha is about addressing Allah and said, O Lord, in Karbala, the cost of water was a life, and the throat of Asghar became the target for the bow and arrows. Inshallah, we dedicate this for Ali Al-Asghar and Imam Al-Hussein with Nada Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ya Rab, be Karbala آورم قیمت جان شد حنجر اصغر هدف رو کمان شد یا رب به کربلا آب روان قیمت جان شد حنجر اصغر توی آن غرق به خونی که بزرگ شهدایی تو عزیز دل زهرا تو حسین خون خدایی سرت از پیکر پاکت که لب تشنه بریده به لب آب روان کشته لب تشنه که دیده یا رب به کربلا آب روان جان شد حنجره از کمان شد یا رب به کربلا به روان قیمت جان شد حنجره ز چرو قلب شریفت هدف تیر بلا شد به تو ای سرور خوبان چه جفا روی جفا شد که ز مظلومی تو خون جگر آل عبا شد گل سالم نبود در بدن پاک تو جایی حسین تن اوریان تو خونین به زمین در بر زینب، تن اوریان تو خونین به زمین در بر زینب، شده در لجه خون غرق مه انور زینب، نبود بی تو دگر یار و روان یاور زینب، نبود بی تو دگر تاب و توان یاور زینب، چه کند خواهر افسرده به هنگام جدایی. یا رب یا رب به کربلا آب روان به جان شد، حنجر از به تیر و کمان شد. یا رب به کربلا آب روان قیمت جان شد، حنجر از تو حسین الگوی آزادگی و عشق و جهادی، تو حسین الگوی آزادگی و عشق و جهادی، که به سر منزل معراج بلا پای نهادی، به ره مکتب توحید تو هستی همه دادی، به ره مکتب توحید تو هستی همه دادی، حرم و زمزمی و سعی و صفایی و منایی. حسین ببرد خفته به خون قاسم و عبدالله و جعفر، ببرد خفته به خون قاسم و عبدالله و جعفر، به دم تیغ جفا کشته تو دیدی علی اکبر، نه سلاح و نه علم مانده نه عباس دلاور، همه یاران تو در کرب و بلا گشت فدایی. یا رب یا رب به کربلا آب روان قیمت جان شد، حنجر اصغر هدف کمان شد. یا رب یا رب به کربلا آب روان قیمت جان شد، حنجر بر خاتم انبیا محمد مصطفی صلوات.
صلوات دوم بلندتر با محمد و آل محمد. خسرو دین شاه تا به کف قنداقی اصغر گرفت، چشم پرها برباب از خون دل گوهر گرفت، روی دست خسرو لب تشنگان بیتاب شد، آنچنان که از تشنگی سر تا به پا آذر گرفت. غریب مظلوم ابا عبدالله الحسین صلوات. محمد و آل محمد. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خوار از غر من، شیر خوار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خوار از غر من، شیر خوار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خوار از غر من، شیر خوار از غر من. کشته رای خدا غرق به خون از غر من، شیر خوار از غر من، شیر خوار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خوار از غر من، شیر خوار از غر من. آب از تیر جفا خوردی و سیراب شدی، یا که در خواب شدی برده خاموشی تو یک سر اوش از سر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. گلوی نازک خشکیده تو شیر نداشت، گلوی نازک خشکیده تو شیر نداشت، طاقت تیر نداشت. کاش این تیر زدی حرم لبر انجر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. مادر زار تو در خیمه بود چشم برا، مادر زار تو بود چشم برا در با 200 ناله ها، بی خبر آن که شدی کشته تو اندر بر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. با چنین حال تو را، با چنین حال تو را گر ببرم سوی رباب، گوچی گویم به جواب. گر بپرسد چه گناه داشت علی اصغر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غم من. از غم مرگ علی اکبر گل پیرانم، سوخت جان و جگرم. غم مرگ تو زد آتش به دل مستر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. شهیدین گفت که ای نور دو چشم تر من، شیر خار از غر من، شیر خار از غر من. صلوات محمدی. اللهم صل.
خوشنودی قلب مقدس آقا امام زمان، صلوات دوم را بلندتر تلاوت. سرمنشأ این عالم هستی حسین است، حسین سالار همه شهیدان، حسین است، حسین. این حسین کیست که عالم همه دیوانه اوست؟ این چه شمعی است که جانها همه پروانه اوست؟ هر کجا می نگرم نور رخش جلوه گر است، هر کجا می گذرم جلوه مستانه اوست. خوشنودی قلب مقدس آقا امام زمان، صلوات بلند.
اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
ای غنچه لب و گل رخ من، اصغر من جان، اصغر من جان. ای غنچه لب و گل رخ من، اصغر من جان، اصغر من جان. با خنده دهی پاسخ من، اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر، 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 اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب جان
پدر اصغر من جان.
آرام بخواب جان پدر،
اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان.
ای غنچه لب و گل رخ من اصغر من جان، ای غنچه لب و گل رخ من اصغر من جان، با خنده دهی پاسخ من اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان. آواز تو دیگر نرسد بر دل و گوشم، آواز تو دیگر نرسد بر دل و گوشم، خاموش مشو ناله بزن در بر من جان، آواز تو دیگر نرسد بر دل و گوشم، خاموش مشو ناله بزن بر دل من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، 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 آرام بخواب اصغر من جان پدر جان. اشکی تو که نم نرسد کار خراب است، اشکی تو که نم نرسد کار خراب است، از دست آتش غنچه گل پر من جان، اشکی تو که نم نرسد کار خراب است، از دست آتش غنچه گل پر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان. این ظلم که باور نشود طفل صغیرم، این ظلم که باور نشود طفل صغیرم، بر دست پدر تیر زدن دل بر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب اصغر من جان پدر جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان. تو کوچک و اهداف تو بسیار بزرگ است، تو کوچک و اهداف تو بسیار بزرگ است، پس خنده بزن بر دم من جان، تو کوچک و اهداف تو بسیار بزرگ است، پس خنده بزن بر دم من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان. این خنده که جز خنده پیروزی ما نیست، این خنده که جز خنده پیروزی ما نیست، صد طعنه به دشمن زده در باور من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر 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 من جان. با خون گلو فتح کند چون صف دشمن، با خون گلو فتح کند چون صف دشمن، تا با خون گلو فتح کند چون صف دشمن، تا در دل تاریخ شوی دفتر من جان، با خون گلو فتح کند چون صف دشمن، تا در دل تاریخ شوی دفتر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان، آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان،
جان پدر اصغر من جان.
آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان.
آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان.
ای غنچه لب و گل رخ من اصغر من جان. ای غنچه لب و گل رخ من اصغر من جان. با خنده دهی پاسخ من اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب جان پدر اصغر من جان. آرام بخواب
جان پدر اصغر من جان. آرام
بخواب جان پدر
اصغر من جان.
بر خاتم انبیا محمد مصطفی صلوات.
اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
زیباست که ناخون زدم با سینه مادرش، نیهوش مانده بسر نتاب در پیکرش.
یا حسین
چی باشه در تر کنید لب غنم پرورش.
یا حسین
که با عجل نبودش جز اندکی فاصله. در خیمه چون از ظلم کین شد قحطی آب. در خیمه چون از ظلم کین شد قحطی آب. از تشنگی شد اصغر 6 ماه بیتاب. انگشت خود را می مکید ناخون به صورت می کشید. 6 ماه اصغر 6 ماه اصغر 6 ماه اصغر 6 ماه 6 ماه اصغر 6 ماه اصغر 6 ماه اصغر. از تشنکامی گریه بیاش می کرد. از تشنکامی گریه بیاش می کرد. بیتاب و چون می شد نظر بر ماش می کرد. انگشت خود را می مکید ناخون به صورت می کشید. 6 ماه اصغر 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 6 ماه. گاهی لب از عشق مادر تازه می کرد. گاهی لب از عشق مادر تازه می کرد. گاه با دهان کوچکش خمیازه می کرد. انگشت خود را می مکید ناخون به صورت می کشید. 6 ماه اصغر 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 6. آخر گلوی تشناش از هم دریدن. آخر گلوی تشناش از هم دریدن. ان غنچه خشکی در از شاخ چیدن. انگشت خود را می مکید ناخون به صورت می کشید. 6 ماه اصغر 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 6 ماه اصغر. عجكم الله. بارا گو پیمبر که علی جان من است. بجان علی و اسم محمد صلوات.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي أيها الباقر. السلام على جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق. السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ولشفاء مرضانا رحم الله لمن قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
هرچه شد بین در و دیوار شد. صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین اشکامه مثل بارون. صلی الله علی المظلوم به کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون. حسین مولانا 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 حسین مولانا. یا لیتنا کنا معک شاه سلام علیک. یا لیتنا شاه سلام علیک. شاه سلام علیک. صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین اشکامه مثل بارون. صلی الله علی المظلوم به کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون. عشق تکراری ای غم بی پایان از قدیمم با تو یا قدیم الاحسان. عشق بی تکراری ای غم بی پایان از قدیمم با تو یا قدیم الاحسان.
للأزل حبيتك يا سكن في الوجدان. قدمت لك روحي يا قديم الإحسان.
هستم هر نفس با تو عشقی الا تو دلم نیستم آدم سابق خونه عاشق جز حرم نیست.
حبك مذهبي وديني مالك سنيني انت والله. دربك سيد الموتي يرتفع صوتي وحسينا.
هيا على البكاء همه گریه میکنم با نام سید الشهدا گریه می